Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. The important news and editorial that will be relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 31st of March. The first important news, that is drug for rare diseases to get custom duty relief. Something very important decision coming from the central government. Second, issues with the quality control orders for the fiber. This is from the text and context page of the Hindu. Third, ahead of tribunal launch, that is with regards to GST tribunal, the SOP for GST investigation will be rolled out and government has come up with some specific rules and regulation. Second last, that is disinvestment facing many challenges. And the last is an editorial GPT-4, a shift from what it can do and what it argues. So all the article that I'm discussing today is from the Hindu. Now, apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further ado, let's get started. And if you are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do press a like button. And if you're someone looking forward with integrated test series, we are the right platform to choose for. 30 prelims plus 8 mains all India level tests will be provided in the integrated test series. Those of you will be appearing for this particular year prelims plus mains. This will definitely boost your preparation level. In this test, the test will also follow PYQs on current affairs, CSAT and full length test. There will be free IS Gazette magazine, a must stop basically destination for your current affairs, and free mentorship will be provided along with this course, along with the flexible text and date schedule that will be there as per your convenience. So do check it out. I have provided a link in the description section for more further details. Starting the news from the first, that is drugs for the rare disease get custom duty relief. That is important for General Studies paper 2 under the subtopic of General Studies, that is government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from its design and implementation. And this particular topic news is also important in the same topic of General Studies, where the subtopic mentioned is issues related to development and management of health. So for both the topic, this news is important. Now, the Ministry of Finance has come up with a rule that it will be exempting the basic custom duty on the drugs and food that is imported for a rare treatment of the diseases, right? Something very important that will help a lot more patients and their families who have to incur a lot many costs. Now, the ministry noted that this will result in the substantial cost saving and provide much relief to the patients. Financially, it will help a lot many families. Now, the annual cost of treatment of some disease even costs like 10 lakh rupees to 1 crore annually. And there's a duration of the course of the medicine that has to continue for a good number of years. Now, the import duty waivers will be effect from 1st of April this particular year. Now, custom duty on drugs ki agar baat kare, see, this varies upon the drug. Sometimes the custom duty is close to 10% in general charge on medicine, and in some category for the life-saving drugs, it is either a concessional 5% or a 0% rate. This is what the current trend is. Now, exemptions were earlier provided to specific drug. Agar baat kare SMA, this is spinal muscular atrophy. It's a genetical disease. In this particular disease, the medicine that is being imported is drugs ke liye exemptions di thi government. Now, after the latest notification, the basic custom duties for all the drugs, that is for personal use, the treatment for rare disease will be exempted. Now, the ambit has been broadened by including more number of drugs and the part of the essential requirement. Now, the center has fully exempted the part of pembrolizumab, which is again a treatment for cancer and various other custom duties. Now, just to tell you what government did, government has come up with 10% of the custom duties in general charged medicine, 5% for the life-saving drugs, and for various other diseases, the the expenses which is being incurred from 10 lakh rupees to a crore rupees. This is what the reality is. And the exemption, the center has listed 51 rare disease for the reference, which will be drugs that is specifically imported in India. Now, one thing that I wanted to highlight here, there was a tweet basically from Mr. Shashi Tharoor, and he has raised a request to finance minister stating that in his constituency, some people has reached out to him and a treatment was have to be there, and this particular the cost was the total that doctor estimated was 65 lakh rupees, right? So he wrote a letter to finance minister asking for the exemption where the family could get some relief. And to a good gestures, this is not only the reason, there are other stakeholder reasons that were also going, but day before yesterday only Mr. Tharoor has tweeted, and finally the government has taken decision which will definitely help the person individual who is actually suffering. So these are the good gestures, good example that even you can use. So talking about the contextual part in this editorial, we are concerned about the high cost medicine that is there in India. So some of the disease that cost the part of the medicine that is costing higher. Some rare diseases include primary immunodeficiency disorder. Then there is glycoma storage disorder, right? Which is again some of the diseases which is mentioned where. Small molecular immune error, that is a metabolic disorder, which is maple syrup used in urine diseases. Cystic fibrosis is another disease that cost high. Then there is osteogenesis imperfecta and spinal muscular dystrophy. So these all diseases have a high cost of treatment in the country. Now procedures for availing exemptions, government has set certain norms और उस norms को पूरे करने के बाद ही exemptions allow की जाएंगी. And the notification, the Ministry of Finance has categorically noted that individual needs to produce certificate from the center or state director of health services or district medical officers or civil surgeon to avail the exemptions that will be given under the National Policy of Rare Disease 2011. Now, drugs that are currently under exemptions, कौन से ऐसे drugs हैं? As I've told you in the beginning, spinal muscular atrophy is a disease, and government has been receiving many representation. I've given one example of Mr. Tharoor. The other representation is from many other stakeholders which have asked for the exemptions on the rare diseases. Now, moving to the other news, issues with quality control orders for fiber, something important for general studies paper 2. That is issues of Indian economy related to planning, mobilization, resource growth and development. So the quality control order has been there by Government of India. With the quality control order will cover the ambit of cotton, polyester and viscose. These are the material that is mostly used in Indian textile industries and the part of the material that is used in clothing industries, right? So the standard that will be available, now government has made a revision and they said the good quality of such fiber will be only used. Now the international manufacturers who supply to India will be mandated by the certificate from Bureau of Indian Standard. This is the agency that take care for the quality control. So there can be a question in the prelims examination asking you that which particular organization or the nodal body is concerned with this. So the correct answer would be BIS. And make sure you check the detail about the BIS. It's a powerful body. There can be a direct question from the Bureau of Indian Standard. Now, why are fiber covered under the QCS? So the main aim for the QCS is to control the import sub-quality, that is for cheaper item, and ensure that the customers get the quality satisfaction. And the imports are done for different reasons. See, in India, we see for price competitiveness, availability in the domestic market, and to meet the specific demand of the overseas buyer. India mostly import the ready-made garments. Most of not India, I'm talking about the business people. They import from Bangladesh also. Bangladesh has become a hub for the ready-made garments. Across the globe, many other countries are also trading with them. Now, the entire supply chain in the textile manufacturing for the export has focused on the quality part, which is again prescribed by the buyers. Challenges under the new mandate, definitely the rules that has come up from the government will call for some challenges. So India import annually around 50,000 to 60,000 ton of viscose, 4 is a part of model and Lenson LF, which is nearly for 20 countries. And getting the certificate from BIS will involve a cost and a timing and the procedure, a due rules of law that has to be followed. Now, further, the BIS official also go for inspecting that particular plant. They go abroad to check whether the requirement of this standard is met in the plants or not. So everything has a cost, everything has a time, and a due process definitely need to be followed before a certification is given. Now, what next for the industries? So, if you see the textile industries, the part of the thing that is imported, or fibers की अगर बात करें, that is used as a blend, right? I mean, there are other fibers that is mostly used as a blend or a mixture to make without restriction will be used, and the quality control orders should be implemented only after the ambiguities which is cleared and the anomalies which is there should be set at right direction. Now, also any overseas applicant for the BIA certificate should get without delay after inspections. So, see, government will intentionally will not delay the part of certification, but a quality check is mandatory in this regard. Now, moving to the other news, ahead of tribunal launch, the standard operating procedures for GST investigation has been rolled out, something important for General Studies paper 2. That is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from it. So most of you must be aware of the fact that the GST Council meeting, which was there recently, have approved the creation for tribunal to redress the GST dispute. This decision was taken by the group of ministers on GST Council, and finally an approval was made by the cabinet also. Now, in this regard, the Revenue Department that is working under the Ministry of Finance has actually come up that they will be finalizing the standard of procedures for the officers to undertake the intelligence and investigation. Already CBDT जैसा organization इस पे काम कर रही है, but an SOP is essentially required for a tribunal. Now, more about the policy draft. अगर GST investigations की अगर बात करें, which is already functional. So CBDT, that is Central Board of Direct and Indirect Customs. So in this case, Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Custom is involved. Now, which deals with the policies issues related to enforcement action. And this particular organization is also empowered for search, seizures, prosecution, arrest, and drafting, part of the manual operations that is there. Now, the SOPs that is coming out from the Ministry of Finance will instruct the formalities that an officer has to be followed, and this will be published shortly to the officers and the concerned department. Now, there's some legal challenge also. So over the couple of years, there has been some legal challenge that is mounting for the taxpayers, और एक absence of dedicated GST tribunal की वजह से काफ़ी ऐसे cases थे that were actually piled on, right? Now, since GST regime has rolled out since 2017, there are a lot of cases that is in the ambiguity stage and or in the stage where the final resolution has not been given. Now, in the recent time, there have been sudden filing of the cases in the tribunal, and a careful deliberation on investigations will be taken care by the appellate body, which will help all the stakeholders to overcome their grievances, right? So a legal challenge of grievance redressal would definitely be boosted up considering the fact that they are eligible for it. Now, case status की अगर बात करें, as of now, from April 2021 till November 2022, a total of over 21,500 cases are still there for GST evasions, and the revenue authorities has entailed an amount of 1.5 lakh crore rupees, and of this 46,200 crore rupees was released. Over 470 people were arrested also. So if the GST tribunal come into action with all due process and procedures, the part of adjudication will definitely be boosted up. Now, about GST Appellate Tribunal, a brief about it, because this is in news. You can expect a direct question in prelims examination. UPSC has already asked a question on GST Council, right? UPSC has asked the question when this was in news, right? In 2017, I guess. So do check it out. The previous question is very important. So Appellate is a second appeal under GST, and any dissatisfaction which is there from the first appeal authorities can be reached out to the tribunal. Now, under Section 109 of the Goods and Services Tax Act 2017, it mandates for GSTAT and its benches The tribunal is likely to be headed by former Supreme Court judges or the Chief Justice of a High Court. This is again, the government will come up with the part of the composition, qualification, and other details that will be notified by the Government of India. Now, the other news, disinvestment facing many challenges, something important for General Studies Paper 3, that is Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization, resource growth and development. So यूनियन बजट ने बेसिकली इस बार डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट की जो टारगेट है उसको 51,000 करोड़ रुपीस रखा है, विच इज 21% डिक्रीज कंपेयर टू द लास्ट ईयर, and this is just 1,000 crore more than the revised estimate. So this estimate for disinvestment is 7 year in the low. पिछले 7 सालों में सबसे कम नंबर्स रखी गई है गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से, एंड थ्रू minority state is included and the government stake 51% listed in the public sector enterprises. Now, if you see the part of disinvestment that government has taken in due course of time, so most of them were done from LIC through initial public offering, that is known as IPO. उसके बाद कुछ और कंपनीज हैं, ONGC, IS, CTC, GAIL, BPL and ONGC and other shares which were there. Now, multiple challenges in privatizing. This is what the government has said. The government has categorically come up with some specific point which is creating problem and hindrance. Among them, the first is COVID-19 pandemic seriously impacted the transition in 2020 and 21. Even to add this the problem, the Russia-Ukraine conflict, which started since 2022, the starting year from January onwards, is again one problem. Multiple court cases that is there, filed by the union and interest group, and investment policy is also among them. And challenges to disinvestment is part which call for other ambiguity which is arising with different stakeholders. So these all come together as a problem in privatizing overall status. Now, use of ETF is another way where the part can be done. So between 2016 and 17, the government has raised of amount of 99,000 crore rupees through exchange traded fund underlying the share of CPSEs. Now, this ETF as a concept become very important for prelims examination. There can be a direct question, right? I'll tell you what are ETF and how does it function in a bit. Just wait for this discussion. Now, the disinvestment receipt for this year is like around 32,280 crore rupees, which is again the targeted of 65,000 crore. The privatization of Central Electronic and Power Hunts has scrapped being announced, and the only legal concern about the winning bidders. So these were some of the problems that has also the part of the ETF, but to the larger extent, ETF has made a success. Now, what is ETF and how it is different from mutual fund? There can be a direct question. So ETF allow investor to buy many stock in a bond in a certain market and a segment, whereas mutual fund allow investor to pool their money together to invest in a diverse portfolio, right? So ETF are tradable on exchange like stock, and mutual fund are bought directly from the company to issue share. And ETF are traded whenever stocks market are open and price continuously fluctuate, and mutual funds are priced only as per the daily basis, and there is a NAV which is known as net asset value. Now, there are type of ETFs that is operating. There are mostly 6 category are there. First is called index. Then we have commodity, inverse, actively managed, industries, and foreign market. For more details, you can pause this video and you can read out further details about all this. Now, moving to the editorial of the day, that is GPT-4 shift from what it can do and what it argues, right? So important for General Studies Paper 3, that is science and technology, and part of the technology development and advancement that is taking place across the globe. So the theme is GPT-4. We'll see about GPT-4. I think most of you must be aware of GPT. It is there in the news. What is GPT-4 can do, ethical questions, and what next. So a US company which is named as OpenAI has again shook the world with its new part of the development in GPT-4. As a GPT-4, GPT 3.5 was already functional, and the larger language model can understand and produce language that it can create a meaningful and advanced version of the company's sensational chatbot called GPT. सो कुछ एडवांसमेंट की गई है, बहुत सारे एडवांसमेंट है लैंग्वेजेस को लेकर के, मल्टीपल ऑब्जेक्ट्स, इवन साइमल्टेनियसली टेक्सटिंग आर ऑल्सो अलाउड. So a lot of AI advancement can be seen via GPT-4, right? Why we are discussing this? Because there can be a direct question in the prelims specifically, और जो ethical issues इससे involved है वो आपका जनरल स्टडीज पेपर 4 के लिए important है. So there can be a direct question in case studies about the ethical issues with GPT-4. Now currently GPT-4 is available to try by premium subscriber and even getting on the OpenAI waitlist. Now basics about GPT-4, it has a remarkable improvement in the processor with GPT 3.5 और ये more conventional और creative platform को use करती है. Even it called for innovations and input simultaneously go for both drafting and replying. It can consider both at one time. Now कुछ examples की अगर बात करें, like if you put some images on GPT and ask that for this particular ingredient what can be made, it can give you suggestions of the dishes that can be made out, right? So it's an advanced level of AI that is helping certain specific section of, not only for a specific section but to a larger section of the society. Now the model can be understood by human emotions such as humorous pictures which it can depict in letters and words. Now what GPT can do, so see, it has a context up to 25,000 words and can improve more than 8x, right? And it was tested in several designated human perform for better than average. GPT also sailed through the advanced courses in environmental science, statistics, history, biology, and economics. So beat every domain it has, it functions. Now GPT-4 has full to do away in English languages where it has only performed 40%, and for other courses it has performed above 80%. Now some ethical question that I was discussing, this can be a question in general studies paper 4. Suppose you are deputed as a district collector and the school are allowing GPT or something, any questions can be there, the stakeholder institution, how you will control, what are the ethical issues. So from that dimension also you have to cover it. So GPT is still prone to lot of flaws that its processor have, and its output may be factually correct, or the trait OpenAI has a hallucination which is also there. The GPT has a trained data scrapped on internet that can contain several harmful bias and stereotypings also. They can also assume that the large database is said to have a diverse database which is faithful representation of the world at large. So there are certain section of the society which might not feel comfortable with the data and part, because the AI is not even controlling the part of emotion. It's factual information that is coming out of it. So stereotyping and biasness exist in these conditions. Now what next? The essence of GPT-4 is a machine that predicts the next world, and even the possibilities are there that it is learned to have a trained large corpuses and text. Now the researcher has maintained that GPT-4 understands the part of saying, and in the intelligence is a path for the new world predictions, and more rapidly it will see that the world to build more trillion degrees of freedom and incorporating all other AI innovation that can be there, but it should be done for a good cause. The advent of large models that arises of the questions and building models that leave society to a concern. So the ethical dimension should also be considered to a larger extent, so that the sentiment and even the part of thing that is impacting any individual should be taken care of. Suppose the part that is there in terms of religious matter, in terms of any specific thing. So these things should also be designed in a way which is neutral in nature, providing a factual information about that. So this will be the way ahead for this. Now moving ahead with the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of first question, that is A. For second, it is C. Today's question is Kangar Ghati National Park. It's a valley of the national park in year 1982, located in the state of Uttarakhand. The second question is about calling name presentation. It's proposed by to write. The feature would provide an individual information about a calling party. So do check it out for the correct option. This was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.